Yep, it's me again. They hate me, that's why they give a fuck about me at the same time. As always, JD Miles. The MGTOWs they love to hate. Even the ones that claim everybody loves to hate them, loves to hate MGTOW at the same time as always, which is why they keep us relevant to this day, and I'm back again. What have I told y'all, fellas? And once again, Department of Homeland Security just received their next L number 5. And it's clear to see that they don't know what they're doing wrong in this situation. That's right. Diverting hate has been exposed for fabricating their statistics, failure to show their reports, and so forth and so forth. This is the reason why they have such a hard time stopping the manosphere like they claim. And before I begin, shout out to Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. I'll put the link to his full video in the description box. Go check it out. But man, we're in for a doozy with this one. And once again, the same ones who's trying to shut us up and shut us down failed miserably. But don't take my word for it. Let's get into it, shall we?
I worked on the Diverting hate report, where we artificially put Sandman and MTR on the number 1 and 2 spot. This project was led by Caitlin Tierney, founder of Diverting, and consulted on by Professor Jason Blazekas.
An act of violent extremism.
He's the director of the Center on Counterterrorism that was previously stationed in Kabul, Afghanistan. Caitlin told us to use proper research methodology to identify the main targets in the manosphere and virtual space.
We then use that research to effectively target this audience online.
This was a lie. The team heavily manipulated.
Now just think, these were the same retarded fucks who called themselves infiltrating the manosphere. Now these are the same retarded fucks whose own cause has been infiltrated and exposed. Imagine that. Let's continue.
It's data.
This is why I tell you guys so often that the most important decision that you will ever make in your life is who you choose to wake up next to.
I had been convicted of manslaughter in the 1st degree. I had taken my then boyfriend's life.
I love angry women because angry women are free.
Of stabbing her boyfriend to death, shooting her boyfriend dead in a jealous rage.
Stabbing her ex-boyfriend more than a dozen times.
At the point that you recognize crazy, let it go. Nothing is worth the risk to your sanity.
Anger, especially in women, is incredibly important. Always be angry.
Where women calling themselves femcells are posting extreme, I hate men, we hate men, kill all men, and violent content.
I do.
Yeah. The irony is this. Let the roles be reversed. Let these men say these type of things towards women. Oh, they're misogynistic, they're extremists, they're domestic terrorists. But when you hear a woman saying all this stuff, talking about how they stabbed their boyfriends, how they were convicted of manslaughter, kill all men, all this retarded fuck shit. Oh, that's not them being misandrous and misandrous, extremists, and domestic terrorists. No, that's different. That's female empowerment. Fuck out of here. Let's continue.
I do think that the key to solve some of the biggest issues within our society today is family building.
Is to nurture that rage.
Wealth transfer, 2-parent households.
When I first shot him, he let out a really loud noise.
I do think there's a place for rage. I agree with you, and particularly for women in rage.
That is not reality. We need each other.
Do anything like this to just basically ruin the lives of a man.
Being a stoic, rational, moral man.
I say that anger is just the beginning.
No, women are getting more mentally ill. Shooting him in the face.
I gave him a toast dog. He wanted.
Again, let a man say all this stuff. He's a misogynist, extremist, domestic terrorist. But let a woman do it. It's female empowerment. The hypocrisy is real.
emotionally react to something instead of logically respond to it.
Kill more men in each of them, 50 a week, then 100 men, then 500. How many men do you think must be killed before patriarchy begins to dismantle?
Liberation movements around the world have always claimed the right to be violent
Killing and mutilating her boyfriend a year ago in Wisconsin.
against occupying forces. I consider patriarchy an occupying force, and I demand my right to be violent.
Hypocrisy. Thy name is woman. Indeed. So it's okay for these feminists to go around making threats towards men, but at the moment a man does it, oh, it's foul on the play. What's more, the people are no dummies here. They constantly hear how the manosphere and these male spaces are extreme domestic terrorists, but guess what? How do they see the feminists? Okay then. They see the feminists no different. To them, feminists are also extremist domestic terrorists. Making all these threats online, but it's okay when they do it. But let's continue.
Yes, guys, we have now reached a point in society where if you call out truly awful behavior in women,
Now, mind you, the children are in the house screaming. You got to think about the pure insanity, the pure lack of emotional control.
then you are classified as a raging misogynist.
We work to divert men away from misogynistic rabbit holes online.
The 13
And they failed miserably. Oh, don't worry. We'll get down to that part later on down the video. But they claim that they are diverting men from so-called misogynist male groups on social media, when in reality they're not. And it always amazes me how their words contradict their actions. But let's continue.
of us were really passionate about early prevention.
However, if you then combine that content with giving men advice on how to deal with real-world situations,
As a man, the worst mistake that you can make in the West today is having kids with the wrong woman. The fact of the matter is that men are more likely to die early, get hurt on the job, or work themselves to death.
At least 74 people have died in the Bakken oil fields.
Ask Kim where everybody's at, and how many are there, and he just says, Derek Man's dead, the Derek Man's dead.
One of the best lessons that I have learned over the past several months as I have experienced considerable hardship within my life is the benefits of balance.
then clearly you are a dangerous male supremacist and they will link you to domestic terrorism.
Which is crazy. And the fact that they went after MTR, even though MTR is one, not part of the manosphere, and two, he does not discriminate. He goes after men and the women. But these retarded fuck ass feminists is so desperate, so fucking desperate to try to have this domestic terrorist fantasy bullshit shoved down everyone's throats, that it got to a point to where they ended up shooting themselves in the foot in the process. But let's continue.
Misogyny is actually a gateway to other forms of extremism.
The broad issue of domestic terrorism or countering terrorism away.
Yep, she actually used those words. It's completely insane. Please drop a like on the video if you think that society hates men informing other men of hypocrisy and flaws in women. And comment down below what you think.
Indeed.
Now this is Caitlin Tierney, and she's the driving force behind the Diverting hate report that put mediocre tutorials and reviews, Legion of Men, Araku TV, and a whole bunch of other creators on a male supremacy list. Click claiming that they are dangerous and destructive individuals.
He ultimately landed on gender-based violence, misogyny as a link to violence, and then a deeper interest in the incel movement specifically.
Now both MTR
and once again, you got these retarded fuck-ass feminists. And yes, if you got a problem with me calling them retarded, go fuck yourself, retard. The fact that we keep telling them stop trying to mix incels with other groups, yet these retarded fucks is so fucking dumb, so fucking slow in the head that they still cannot grasp that concept. And as I said, they trying to mix groups together just to have a narrative. We need to find a way to put incels in other groups. That's group mixing. The incels are in a group of their own. The manosphere is a group of their own. Neither the two shall mix. One's oil, one's water. You know how that goes. Let's continue.
Evan Preach talked about this on their platforms, but they only scratched the surface of this 55-page pile of garbage, since it goes way beyond what was mentioned in their original videos, and things are about to get absolutely crazy. I'm talking Pakistani terrorist network, data manipulation, extramarital affair, and sexual abuse. But before we get into all of that, let's back up a bit and talk about why the real MTR is even being investigated like this in the first place. So if you don't know him, The Real MTR, or Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, is a major content creator on YouTube who focuses on educating men on how to deal with real-life situations.
All of the red flags to just go off and think that, maybe she'll get better. Maybe she'll improve. Maybe when there's no incentivization to do so. He's got kids with multiple baby mamas. Please, wrap it up.
Now, I won't be going...
Yeah, he gets on the men too, but somehow, according to dumb, retarded, fuck-ass feminists, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews is a misogynist. Yeah, make that dumb logic make sense. Let's continue.
Going into detail on some of these scandals behind the scenes that perfectly explain why Caitlyn was able to get this report with so many errors approved and published, since it might reveal the identity of my source. However, this is where Jason Blazakis comes in, and it makes his involvement both problematic and laughably bad, since Jason was both a paid advisor to this research team and an editor of the final report.
Focuses on incel-related violence.
Thanks for that, Jason.
You see, Jason actually has real-world experience with truly dangerous and extremist individuals.
So I was actually in the State Department office as the head of the office responsible for sanctioning individuals and organizations as terrorists. And I was actually in the U.S. government chair when we designated Sirajuddin Haqqani as a specially designated global terrorist.
So to put that into perspective here, Haqqani is one of the most dangerous terrorists on the planet, with a $10 million FBI bounty on his head. And the guy who studied Haqqani and tried to kill or capture him for years looked at MTR's content and said, yeah, that is a dangerous individual. Put him on an extremist list in a report filled with misogyny and hate.
And the crazy part about it is they want to put him on a list, but they can't even point out where he is promoting violent extremism and terrorism. In fact, they can't even tell you that he's part of the manosphere. Oh wait, that's right. How can we forget? Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews is not even part of the manosphere. And this is what grinds our gears even further. What they trying to do is trying to put people in groups they don't belong in order to push a narrative. In order to push propaganda. They are that desperate. It's like the far left libtards automatically putting people on the far right conservative side because they don't support the far left liberal side of the political spectrum, even though some of them they try to put on conservative side are either libertarian or independent. Yeah, how fucking stupid is that? Let's continue.
Now, some of you might think, well, wait just a minute, it's not an extremist list, right? It is a male supremacy list. Well, in that case, you've been tricked by feminist semantics, because the only reason why they are calling it a male supremacy list is because guys like MTR are a little too tan to be called white supremacist or far-right extremist.
Oh, now it makes sense now. Remember, what was these femitards' main argument? Oh, the manosphere consists of all white male supremacists. Oh, wait, there's a non-white male in the manosphere? Well, let's change it to male supremacy. Yeah, again, make the retarded fuck-ass logic make sense.
However, make no mistake, that is exactly what they mean when they say male supremacy.
You know about white supremacy, but have you heard of male supremacy?
And notice that they still use the same old heads from Elliot Rodger to the rest. Even though Elliot Rodger committed his acts way before the manosphere was established. So using him is such a fucking cop-out as well as a desperate attempt. Yeah, these dumb femitards clearly is so desperate to push a narrative, they will just add anything to it. They'll just add anything to the pot and call it soup. Let's continue.
It's a kind of potentially violent extremism that experts say is on the rise. Male supremacy can be defined as a hateful ideology advocating for the subjugation of women.
They say it's a hatred of women. I know over here on my side, there is no hatred of women. None. But then again, what do you call female supremacy? Oh, that's the part they don't want to talk about. And yeah, there are women on social media who openly and blatantly give out their hatred of men. But at the same time, they want to pretend like, oh, their misandry doesn't exist, only misogyny. And what did Uncle JD said? What did Uncle JD said? If there's no such thing as misandry, there's no such thing as misogyny. If there's no women who hate men, there are no men who hate women. And I stand firm on that statement. Let's continue.
See what I mean? And this is how they try to use the game of degrees of separation to then link those creators like MTR to violent extremism in real life.
Which makes no goddamn sense because before you call someone a violent extremist, I want to see the facts. How did this person connect to violent extremism? Did he commit any violent acts? Did he encourage his supporters or anyone he knows to commit violent acts? Oh, that's right. We don't see the evidence behind it. We don't see no probable cause behind it. They just want them to be part of extreme terrorism, all because they want them to be. No, it doesn't work that way.
What is referred to as the manosphere, which is essentially the online world where men sort of trade secrets on how to get / control / violate women.
Now this very...
Bitch, shut the fuck up. No, ma'am. You say the manosphere is there giving out secrets to control women and that type of stuff. And by the fact that she made that fucking statement right there proves that she doesn't know shit about the manosphere at all. If that's all that she got out of it. And if that's all that she got out of it, then she's a fucking idiot. Let's continue.
Very polarizing and dangerous game is exactly the gospel of Caitlin Tierney But perhaps the most telling part of this entire report, and clear evidence that they are not being truthful at all, is that nowhere in these 55 pages will you find a single instance of them mentioning their conversion results. That is highly suspicious.
Indeed. And rather, it makes their claims completely misleading. They saying this, they saying that, but they don't provide no receipts, no facts, no statistics. Just believe what I say because just believe what us femitards say because we saying it. Fuck out of here. Let's continue.
Because the whole point of their research was, as they say, divert men away from dangerous sources and towards healthier handpicked options that they control.
So why is not happening? And I, for one, put their diverting hate bullshit to the test. All those names on the list, I went to each and every social media sites, looked those names up, and it's funny because when I typed those names in the search engine, it took me directly to their Twitter handles, their Facebook pages, their TikToks, their Instagrams. Everywhere. But they claim to be diverting the hate to these other sites in which I seen for myself. And these other sites consist of weak, defeated, beta male feminist, soy boy bullshit. Barf. But if that's the case, and yes, MTR had a point in this. If that's the case, that they are actually diverting traffic from these so-called male supremacist sites to their soy boy, weak, defeated ass beta male videos, then how come their little weak soy boy videos ain't getting no traction at all? They still stagnant in the same place where they were left. God damn it. You can't make this shit up. Let's continue.
Strategy is to divert men, incel and incel adjacent audiences, away from misogynistic content online and towards community groups through advertising and partnership building.
Which is a downright fucking lie. No, they're not being diverted. No, you type in the name in any search engine on these social media sites, their handles, their pages will pop up. Not you being diverted to the beta male, feminist approved male sites that they want them to. So why is she lying to people? Why is she sitting there lying her fucking ass off? We don't know. Let's continue.
So then where is the data for this? How many men have they actually diverted? Why would you not mention this anywhere in the entire report when that is your main focus? Kayla.
The answer to that question is it ain't happening. Nobody's being diverted to the feminist approved male sites. Hence the reason why they can't show the data. They can't show the data. They're scared to show the data because the data will contradict all their claims. Need I say more?
Galen even mentions this as being one of their key performance indicators, or KPIs, and she says that these KPIs are essential for their own research.
But they don't show the KPIs. Period. Therefore, their claim is misleading. And without that data, without their data and their sources, Any claims made from the femitard ran diverting hate bullshit, any and all claims they make is straight up bullshit. Let's continue.
They are essential for measuring success, and yet these KPIs are completely missing from the report. These women even believe that if you consume any conservative media or content tailored to men, that you have a mental health disorder.
Observing the common rhetoric of Fox News or right-wing media, and that they're just sort of becoming these radicalized groups through what we identified as a lot of it being a lack of mental health resources.
You could go ahead and shut your fucking trap, femitard, before you try to diagnose anyone with a mental health disorder. Then let's see your credentials. I want to see your PhD or your bachelor's or your master's in psychology. And yes, it's crazy. It's crazy. Nowadays, everybody is a psychologist, and everybody thinks that they could go around and just diagnose people with mental problems. But ask them where their credentials are. That's just a mystery. And no, she has no form of PhD in psychology, but she thinks she can tell people who has a mental disorder. Have several seats, ma'am. Let's continue.
These women dismiss every valid criticism that men have on marriage, feminism, modern dating, and politics in general as just simple misogyny and far-right extremism, and it's why this entire 55-page report is filled with mistake after mistake after mistake, and it doesn't even adhere to basic reporting standards for scientific research. Here, on page 5, no caption and no number. Then again, on page number 10, no caption and no numbering for this table. Then following that, all of these images are missing proper captioning and numbering, until we get to page 29 with the first figure 1. But then on page 42, again we find figure 1. So which figure 1 are you referring to later in the report? This is why official captioning standards dictate the use of chapters and subchapters. Another thing that's standard for research reporting is citation lists. You need a proper APA citation list with names of the books, journals, or reports that you used with their page numbers and edition. This way, someone can quickly verify that your information is correct and from a credible source. But again, that is totally missing.
And that's a fact. You need and that's a fact. You need that you need that crucial information for people to do their own research. But because Diverting Hate does not give people that type of information, all their claims can be questioned. All their claims can be challenged. You see how this goes? Exactly. Let's continue.
Just like the dates of the websites that they accessed. Websites can be updated and changed all the time, which is why the dates are important for reproducing the research. Now, this all might seem trivial if you've never written a proper scientific report, but trust me, these are first-year mistakes and they are not tolerated at any proper master or PhD level. I studied at the Technical University in Delft and also at the Bocconi University in Milan, and this would have never been graded at both of these institutions. But the real problem here is that those things are only the beginning, and it gets so much worse from here. Because if you look at the male supremacy list, two things stand out immediately. One, why are the most extreme creators on that list only scoring in the middle of the pack?
That is exactly what I pointed out. They got Sandman at number 1 and MTR at number 2, in which they completely fucked up MTR. He doesn't go by the real MTR. He just goes by MTR. But it's funny about Sandman and MTR has the top 2 spots. Whereas Fresh and Fit and Just Pearly Things are dead middle. Shouldn't both Fresh and Fit and Just Pearly Things should be at the top of that list. And that just comes to that just comes to show you just how fucked up their so-called information is. You got MTR, who shouldn't be on the list at all because he ain't even Manosphere. But you got Fresh and Fit and Just Pearly Things getting lower scores than neither Sandman or MTR. In fact, they should be at the very top of the list, underneath them both. But this is how you know that these Femitards' so-called facts, statistics, and claims are completely fucked up. Let's continue.
This is like making a list of the worst Nazis and going 1 Goebbels, 2 Himmler, 3 Aretha Franklin, 4 Goring, 5 Pikachu, 6 Hitler. That makes absolutely zero sense. And the second thing that stands out is that by the team's own accord, they claim to be focusing on 11 prominent accounts and influential figures in the manosphere on YouTube. However, they then handpick Sandman and 21 Studios and put them on the list as well. Now, no shade to them, but I'm purely looking at the numbers here, and when you do, that doesn't make any sense. With Sandman, most of his videos for the past 12 months did not break 10k views, and 21 Studios hasn't even uploaded a single video or stream in the past 9 months, and before that, most of their videos struggled to even break 5k views. So how the hell is that considered influential on YouTube? Especially when you have major creators like Alexander Grace easily breaking 100k views per video, with a widely successful and now infamous Whatever podcast that has multiple channels going viral both on YouTube and TikTok, so there's no way they would have missed these or other channels, especially if you would be doing thorough research as they claim.
Obviously, it has to be more to it. I mean, that is such a bold claim by Diverting Hate that they asses cannot back up. In fact, the numbers don't lie here. But y'all also want to know something too? Where the hell is Andrew Tate? Shouldn't he be on that male supremacy list? Oh, that's right. They didn't put Andrew Tate on that male supremacy list. And this is how you know this Diverting Hate thing is so full of shit. You got the baddest ones in the middle, not even in the top 2 spots. Plus, you're missing Andrew Tate from that list as well. And y'all constantly call Andrew Tate a male supremacist, but Andrew Tate is not on that list. Why is that? Can these Femitards answer that question? I doubt it. Let's continue.
Now, obviously, I'm not trying to throw Alexander or the Whatever podcast under the bus here. I don't think either of them should be on a male supremacy list. However, what I am trying to point out is that these so-called researchers are not even following their own logic, and that their own methodology is already falling apart before we even get started with the actual calculations. Now, at this point, combined with all the other information, you can already tell that this entire report just stinks to high heaven, and is just a feminist fever dream riddled with errors driven solely by emotion and anger. But wait, it gets even worse, since not only did the team not understand their own measuring metrics, but they actually changed the definition of those metrics and then compared them with industry standards to give a false impression of success. For instance,
and they wonder why, and these dumb Femitards wonder why they still losing the war to the manosphere. All that talk about stopping the manosphere, shutting down the manosphere, but why the manosphere is still here, why the manosphere is still ongoing, why the manosphere is still going strong, even though they swear up and down that they're winning, that they're having a success that's not even there. And for Homeland Security, this is their 5th loss. No, I shit you not. This is lost. This is L number 5 for them. They're the ones who gave them over $7,000 to this group, and this group completely fucked the shit up. And again, they wonder why they are losing to the manosphere. Not only are they losing to the manosphere, but the fact that they constantly got to broadcast the manosphere is the reason why the manosphere continues to grow to this very day. When you fight so hard to try to silence, censor, cancel, what may have you, the more people will look into these groups. And guess what happens? These people will either have an understanding of the manosphere or can easily relate. And as a result, the manosphere has now grown in numbers since their fucking report. By the end of the day, they're not stopping the manosphere. They only advertising the manosphere. And they wonder why, their little publicity stunts and bullshit ass fake statistics and shit ain't working. That's like sleeping with a football team that try to be a virgin. Let's continue.
If you look at the only result that they did publish, which was the ad view rates, also known as the view through rates, or VTR, of 50%, then we see that they claim to have beaten the industry average of 30%. That sounds amazing, right? Well, it is actually completely made up, and it's the reason why they won't publish the raw data. You see, YouTube's official method for calculating the view-through rate is ad views over impressions. However, not every single ad view counts as an actual ad view. The ad view must comply with one of three measuring standards, which are 1. Viewed for 20 seconds on a 20-second video ad, 2. Viewed for 32 seconds on a 40-second video ad, or 3. It must have a click on the ad after 18 seconds of view time. These are the official metrics used to calculate VTR.
Which it doesn't count, which may I also add, does not count if the viewer hit that skip button at the 5 second mark. You hit skip on the video, it will not measure. It will not count. What's more, if they are so successful like they claim, how come once again they're not showing the receipts? This really is indeed a mystery, Scooby-Doo. Let's continue.
However, Caitlyn and her team did not use this. They made up their own metric, which they state as the skippable video ad is not skipped after 5 seconds. Now, since you obviously can't skip the ad for the first 5 seconds, this way of measuring is going to have a much higher view-through rate, and it tells you nothing about the viewer's interest. It's simply a measure of how quickly someone can click skip as soon as the skip becomes available. And this is why YouTube uses a much more thorough method of measuring. And so by YouTube standards, this leads to an average VTR on the platform of 10 to 15%. So the 30% that Caitlyn is referring to is actually from third-party sources focusing on the most highly optimized industry ads that targets the user's interest.
And non-interest. So their claims are not adding up. Their claims are just complete and utter bullshit.
However, Caitlyn and her team are doing the complete opposite, since they are trying to divert the user away from their interest to something that the viewer is normally not interested in.
We saw some interesting click-through rates, especially given that this group doesn't normally click on things that are necessarily.
And it's funny, Caitlyn here can only talk about the success rates rather than show the success rates. And for some of us like myself, you got to show us more than you can tell us. You got to give us the facts instead of your mouth. I'm just saying.
Necessarily good for them, or
But yet somehow they are still easily outperforming those optimized industry ads. You see how insane this sounds. So clearly this is incorrect, and they are presenting false data here. So to summarize this entire mess, in a 55-page report dedicated to diverting men away from hate, not one mention on the actual conversion ratios of how many men they actually diverted, and thus showing us their effectiveness. Not a single mention of their own click-through rates, not a single mention of how many page visits to those alternative resources, not a single mention of their own key performance indicators that Caitlin herself called essential for measuring success. So
And the reason why, because that information will contradict their words. They claim they will have a success, but the numbers never lie. And because the numbers don't add up to their claims, they would rather keep the actual numbers hidden from the public. Again, believe what they say because they say it bullshit, in which nobody's falling for it. Let's continue.
So when you put all of this together, it is complete insanity that Professor Jason Blazakis allowed such a garbage report to go ahead and be published, and it shows that the Middlebury Institute that produced these clowns is a complete joke of a university and a total waste of your $48,000 a year tuition. This type of garbage research is why ordinary people don't trust science anymore, and it's why most social science...
They don't trust science, they don't trust the government, and they damn sure don't trust these primitards and their oh I'm a damsel in distress claim. And again, they wonder why they stay losing their war with the manosphere.
Science today is complete trash. This was...
Yes, diverting hate has been debunked, has been destroyed, and is completely blown out the water. And once again, Homeland Security has been delivered their fifth L. But mediocre tutorials and reviews made an excellent point. That and the fact that even I brought this up. Instead of them being in their goddamn feelings and emotions, how about having a sit down? Come on, is it that hard to do? Is it too much to ask? Come on, you clowns. Y'all have an open invitation. But no, they don't want to do that. They don't want to have a sit down and discussion. They would rather rely on their feelings and their overly emotional claims, thinking that they'll be successful while constantly failing at the same time. I mean, it's like a scientist still using a failed experiment, hoping to get a different result. I mean, that's some bullshit right there, man. But nevertheless, I said what I had to say. If you want the full video in its entirety, I'll leave the link to this video in my comment section, as well as mediocre tutorials and reviews video in the comment section as well. Not to mention the videos I'm gonna post in the comment section as well, speaking on this matter. Go check them out. Tell them JD Mouse sent you. But that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. I'm done. I'm done with diverting hate. I'm done with exposing diverting hate's bullshit-ass fabrications of facts, claims, and statistics, and I'm out this bitch. Later. Another loss for the feminists and Homeland Security.